everything that's been said. Like I mostly signed up for this session so I can like really hear from everyone and learn from you all. And I saw the panelists and I read your bios. I was really inspired. I was like, oh, let me just sign up and see what I can learn from them. And at this point, I don't even know if I should say anything. I feel like everything has been said, but I just want to like emphasize some of the points. I saw this on the internet, and I feel like, and this has come up a lot in today's conversation. Just looking at, okay, so there's different animals as you can see. The monkey, bird, elephant, penguin, fish in a fishbowl, penguin, and then like I guess that like represents a teacher or an educator, and they're like, for a fair selection, everyone has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. So that's their examination, and it's like climb that tree, and it's like really like you're telling a fish in a fishbowl to climb the tree, like. So I think this represents what the education system in a lot of places in the world is doing. It's not really paying attention to who's in the classroom and like the different needs of the different students and also the different abilities of the different students. And then it's just expecting them, like we said, like just giving them like this testing model that's not really testing, like what is it really testing them. So that's one thing I wanted to point out. And another thing I feel like with the topic of schools and higher education needs to evolve, we need to also look at like the foundations of even the education system itself. Like why do people pursue education to begin with? And like you can ask people on the streets and even yourselves, like were you in school? And you're like, well, I have to be in school. Or other people say like I want to go to school so I can get a good job and make a lot of money. And I feel like that's the answer that I hear a lot. So people go to college so they can get a good career and then make money and support their families or whatever. And like it's not bad to make money, but I feel like that really shows that right now the goal of education has become really materialistic, and that also fosters like competition and just really thinking about yourself and getting to the top. So I feel like when we're looking at this topic, we also need to evaluate the why behind education. Like what goal are we trying to get to, like through this whole system? Like what are we trying to achieve in the end? Instead of just focus, and then that way we can also change the means when we like change the goal. So for me, I really feel like what education should be achieving and what has already been said. Like I feel like we should really be learning about ourselves and learning about each other. So to have knowledge, in order to have understanding, and then in order to love. Like I feel like that should be the ultimate goal of education. So first of all, learning about yourself, learning to love yourself, learning to love your neighbor, learning to love people around you, people in the world, and then you're understanding different cultures, different contexts, and then the whole goal should be to make the world a better place, because right now it's not. Like there's so many different problems. So if the goal is love, then as you can see, there's a lot of changes that need to be made into like what we've been trying to do with education. So again, also looking at higher education. So I live in California, and so I moved there from Kenya about 11 years ago. So I got to experience the education system in Kenya and also the education system in like America. I moved in the middle of high school, and then I also went on to college and went through that system of higher education. And with college, there's more choice, but still, even higher education needs to evolve as well. And I felt like it was just this race that it was like, okay, from high school, then I got into college, and then at that time I wanted to be a doctor. And so it was like they gave me this, the academic advising, they gave me this like sheet of requirements. Okay, you need to take this class and this class and this class. So a bunch of science classes, and then they give you like how you needed to take like a schedule of how you needed to do it in order to succeed. And I was a freshman, so I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm meant to do. Like at this, I can't deviate from this plan. And so that's what I did my first year. I did well my first year. I did okay, but then my second year, I started not doing well in school. But at the same time, I was not doing well as a person. Like, I felt like I was also like I was depressed for a long time, experiencing depression, and I knew I was not okay. But school was really the only thing that I was doing well in until that point. But then that's that point, like there was just a lot happening in my family problems, and it was really making an impact on myself. And then it also started to make an impact in my studies. And so that point became like, I think the end of my sophomore year was a breaking point. but it ended up being a blessing as well, because it made me stop and reevaluate my life. Like, why am I doing all of this? I'm just taking classes, I'm not taking care of myself, and what am I really learning from all of this? Because I'm just cramming all this stuff. So anyway, that ended up being like a blessing, because I realized at that point I decided to take education in a different realm, because I took education and became empowering for me to actually heal myself. So I changed my major. I ended up changing my major to psychology, but my end goal was still to become a doctor at that point. So I took psychology, and I was taking different classes, and also took other Black studies classes, so learning about Africa and also the African Americans in America. And I started like really learning more about systemic injustices and how that was what I was experiencing. It wasn't just me. And I feel like, so education became more liberating for me. I was learning about myself. It made me reflect upon like my own like adolescent stage. And I was really like growing and healing. So after that, I was like, yeah, like if I was still a biology major, like I'm adhering to that strict schedule, like I would not really have this opportunity to take other classes that I wanted to just for fun and also just to learn more about myself. And then it's like, yes, I want to be a doctor, but yeah, if I become a doctor, yeah, let's say I didn't even change my major. I just stayed cramming for all of my classes, not really taking care of myself, still depressed. And then let's say I got all A's and I graduated and I became a doctor. Like, what kind of doctor would that be? Like, I'm trying to heal others, but I know that I'm broken inside myself. So I realized that, yeah, I can't just do this because this is what people tell you. I think we need to be successful. We need to sacrifice all of this and like in order to get to this goal. So so that time, yeah, just taking all those classes that they fulfilled different requirements, but also I was learning more about myself as a person, appreciating myself, healing from the past and loving myself, and also gaining a context of what's going on in the world, and also thinking creatively of solutions. And then, anyway, so I ended up graduating, and I ended up going more into education because I realized the power education gave me that really freed me, like freed my mind, and also healed me from different things I was going through. And so I ended up going into a different direction, but I feel like, yeah, education should help you confront reality and not just like you're going through all of these different things, but you're not able to connect that with what you're learning in the classroom. So I feel like it should help you confront reality, but also give you the tools to empower yourself in order to have the creativity and the innovation to think about solutions and collaboration with other people to, really make a difference in the world. So I think, that's one of the things I just wanted to highlight, like, what are the goals, like, why are you doing this? Because you might just be doing this because, especially when you're young, you don't really have a choice. Your parents put you into school, but, especially going into thinking about college and thinking about the future, like, I feel like you should really take education and think about what you want to get out of it. And even if you don't know what you want to be in the end, like your career, your passions will arise as you're letting yourself, getting exposed to different subjects, and also confronting the realities in your own life, even things that you're trying to run away from. So that's just what I wanted to leave with, but I really enjoyed everyone who spoke, and also from the students. Like, it was really nice to hear from you. So thank you. Any questions?
And so thank you, that was very refreshing and just beautiful. So I'm wondering, are you a teacher now? Do you teach?
Oh, okay. So I ended up, I graduated college, and at first I was still like, I want to be a doctor because that's all I wanted to be since I was 5 years old, like a medical doctor. But I asked myself, why do I want to be a doctor? And I realized I wanted to help people. And I was like, I can help people in so many other ways. It doesn't have to be through medicine or through this one thing. Mm-hmm. And that's when I realized that education, like, it really changed my life, like, especially in that college phase. And I realized education has the power to empower a whole generation so that they can be confident in who they are. They can be just aware of, like, not trying to hide from what's going on in the world, but aware of the situation, but knowing that you have the tools and the power to actually make a difference. So I went into education. I did a master's in education first, and then I got a job at the university where I did my undergraduate education in University of Santa Barbara, California.
Oh, wow.
And so I work in a small department called Academic Initiatives. And what's cool about this department is not just it's not just, even though it's called academic initiatives, it's not just about like, oh yeah, do well in school, but it's about really bridging the gap between academia, like the faculty side and academics, and also like the support side that needs to come from administration. So we have so first generation college students are students whose parents haven't gone to college, so they may not really know how college works when they get there. So we have programs that cater to those first generation college students. We have mentorship programs for Black students in specific, because there's only 5% Black students in the school, from a school of 22,000 people. So it's, yeah, you need to really realize, like, yeah, which students are here, and like what are their needs, and how can we really fulfill those needs? Because it's not the same as this picture, or the picture that was there. Like, there are people coming from different backgrounds, and you need to acknowledge that, and also help them. For it to be really fair, you need to we need to acknowledge the lack, and also we need to acknowledge the strengths that each student population brings. So I help match the students with like a faculty or a staff or a graduate student mentor, and they meet at least twice a quarter, and then we have programs that allow faculty and professors to meet with students, to have dinner with them after school. So that's another thing, because a lot of people fear going to the professor's office hours, or you fear a professor because, yeah, I don't know, you just have that respect, but also like a fear. So we wanted to break down and show them, like, these are real people, and also to show the professors, yeah, your students are real people as well. Like, you need to know what they're going through, and just to get to know them as human beings. So we have a dinner with them once a quarter, and I help organize that. Yeah, so stuff like that, and we have different committee meetings to like see what students need and how we can, as an administration, that can meet those needs. And I also just started the PhD in education, so I'm also a student as well. So I'm still learning, and answers your question.
Very inspiring person.
Yeah, very inspiring.
Yeah, thank you all. And yeah, like I just want to say it again, like, follow your passion. Like, at first my parents were like, they wanted me to be a doctor, and I wanted to be a doctor. And then yeah, they're like, yeah, Charlene's gonna be a doctor. But when I started changing my major, they're like, what are you doing? Like, and then I ended up doing something different. And then there was still like education. Like, what are you gonna do with education? And then, but now, like, they're seeing what I'm doing and the impact it's making, and now they're proud of me. So at the beginning, you may not get all the support that you may want, like, but in the end, it's really about you, like, fulfilling your passion and your purpose, because God put you all here for a reason. Like your parents, yes, they're your parents, but they don't see your whole future. Like, they may have a picture of your future, but like, there's a higher power that put you here for a bigger reason. So they may not see it right away, but just hold on to that, and then in the end, like, they'll be proud of you no matter what. Like, just remember that, and they still love you, regardless of like whether you're doing what they want you to do or not. But yeah, I just wanted to share that as well. Yeah.
My name is Joyce Adolwa, and I work with CARE International. I don't know whether any of you have heard about CARE International. We are a humanitarian organization that was established right after World War II. And we work in over 90 countries, 94 to be precise. And we do humanitarian aid, we do education programming, we do anything that you can think of, including health. And looking at especially the younger generation, and I'm so glad that we have, people that are under 20 here. So that is fantastic. Thank you for coming. So my role, I am the head of global education program. Education programs are in 56 countries in Latin America, Africa, and the Asia region. I love coming to India because of the food, frankly. And we have over 255 programs in education alone. The education focus for us is not only looking at basic education, looking at early childhood development, primary education, and also transitions into secondary school. And more keenly, for the relevance of this topic, also looking at transitions into higher. Whether that means post-secondary in terms of college, does it mean technical training, whatever that is, what are the capabilities and how are we equipping the younger generation to be able to participate in development through education. So when we think about this topic, school and higher education needs to evolve. It almost suggests that we need a revolution in education. It suggests that we need a new way of educating, and that means that in some way it does suggest the irrelevance of education as it sits today. So what does that mean for us? When we think about the previous Millennium Development Goals, how many know about those? Did you hear about the MDGs? Yes, and then we came up with, as a globe, we came up with the Sustainable Development Goals in 2015. Now the goal for education goes beyond learning outcomes. We all know that you have to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? Math. But that's not all you go to school to learn about, right? You want more from your education, don't you? You want to be able to participate in not only your own development, but also that of your society. You want to be able to uplift your community. Yes, you want to get out of poverty for those who are, and break the intergenerational cycle of poverty. But my question is, to what extent does the current education system facilitate the new measures of education as it stands today? Or are we still looking at an education system that is still stuck in the industrial age agenda when we are talking about 2030 and meeting those goals in terms of development? To what extent is our education curriculums connected to the economic development that we want to see? To what extent are the education strategies at every country connected to the economic development strategies, to the health outcome strategies, to the climate change strategies? Because really education is all about its intersectionality and in addressing the human condition. We know that we are all here, most of us at least. Some of us are still in the process of getting an education, but most of us are here because we have attained a certain level of education. But education does not mean schooling. Schooling and education are two different things. Education is a lifelong practice, and it is something that you cultivate. It goes beyond the reading, writing, and arithmetic to thinking about three other R's. How is education relevant to you personally in interacting with others in your society? And how is it relevant in solving today's problems? How does it interact with the new technological age that we are into? And what comes next after that? The skills that we acquire in our learning practice, how are they enabling us to be futuristic in our thinking and not so much making us get stuck in the past, so that all we are concerned about is how things used to be and perpetuating how things used to be, to really looking at what things need to be in the future and how we enable that future to happen through education. So in terms of the relevance and the relationship, how do we cultivate young people who are not only able to relate to the experience of education, but can relate to how education impacts other sectors and how they themselves engage in enabling those sectors to succeed? So what do I mean by that? In terms of, if you think about the health outcomes and being a teenager, one of those is reproductive health education. To what extent are we as young people, and especially girls, ready to be teenagers with responsibility? When we think about leadership skills development, what does that mean? What does that mean in terms of handling our menses as women? What does it mean in terms of negotiating the relationships that we will encounter as we move forward? And what does that mean about deciding on the number or the size of our families as we become of reproductive age? What does it mean about access to healthcare, access to family planning, or even child marriage? We know education needs to address gender inequalities. to what extent does education really facilitate gender equality? Beyond saying there are equal number of girls and boys in the classroom, beyond saying that girls are performing in math as equitably with boys in the same classroom. But what does that really mean in terms of social change in the community? To what extent are we able to measure that through the education measures that we have at higher education? Some of you might be wondering, how is this relevant to the topic that we had a discussion? Well, my point is, if we have to make education relevant, then we need to redefine the tools that we need, the methods and the purpose of education. We need to repurpose them so that they reflect the changes in our different contexts in terms of the social, techno-economic changes that we experience, and also the geopolitical changes and shifts that we are seeing. We all saw what happened with the Arab Spring, and that was a call for action. That was a call to attention in terms of young people demanding a response from their governments in enabling them to be more empowered. The assumption that just because you go to school you are empowered is not true. We know that a lot of women out there are educated, but yet they do not have access to simple basic rights. Access to healthcare, access to decision making, they're not part of the decision making table. Because if they were, then we should not be having a conversation around child marriage, gender-based violence, equity at the workplace, equal pay in the United States, that's a hot topic. We shouldn't be, if really education is the be-all. However, if we are really going to look at educational outcomes, then we need to move beyond the conventional learning outcomes of measuring, how well you did in math, how well you did in writing, and reading, to really looking at measuring the intensity, the level and intensity of change that is generated by education inside and outside of the classroom. Thank you. Yes? I guess we can take questions before Dr. Kalati comes on stage.
Here in India, we do face the problem of gender bias testing these days. So for that, the government is really making efforts. It's making, for the girl child, especially in the government schools, the government is making the education free for the girl child. And I really did not know if it's something like this happening in US as well.
I mean, the issues that women face are the same everywhere. And it's not necessarily, like for instance, the US is the only country in Somalia that has not ratified the Child Rights Act. We know that. We also know that it's not illegal in a lot of states for a girl to be married after 15. It's not illegal. It is not illegal. I didn't say it is legal. I just said it is not illegal. Those are two different things. So it's equal pay in the United States. That's why Hillary Clinton, that's one of the things she was running on, is equal pay. Men earn higher than women. Beyond any racial statistics. That's like the bottom line. But also I think most importantly is what it is that women need to do differently so that we are not waiting to be acted on, but we are part of that process of enacting change. How do we then equip, our programs in education are really focused on equipping young girls with the skills that they need to negotiate and to speak up, to be able to be confident in who they are, not only in what they are capable of doing, because if you do not understand who you are, if you are not confident about who you are, then other people will not be. That is what it is. You have to know you. And then number two, you have to know the content of which you want to speak about, or what you want to be known for. So when you're sitting in that classroom, and right now I'm addressing, the young ladies that we have in the room, know your stuff. Get to know your stuff and get to know what is expected of you. Because that's the only way you cultivate your own leadership skills. The other thing is be able to speak up. Have an opinion about everything. You don't always have to say it or share it, but have it. And also understanding when, and part of this should be part of learning, should be part of schooling. They say the number one skill of the future is not so much what you know, it's how you apply it. It is analytical skills. It's cognitive thinking. Being able to relate what you learned in school to real life problems and solving them. And that's where education needs to be. It's great, read, we used to call it memorize what you need to. But most importantly, how will you apply it? How does that apply to where you're going to be in the future? What's your long-term goal of what you want to be? And how does the education that you're participating in right now, the learning that you are engaging in, because we know learning is now outside of the classroom. We have, we are busting our walls, so to speak, in terms of the classroom experience, because we all have digital devices that help us learn what other people in other countries are doing. And frankly, you can have a whole course on a certain university for free now. So how do you enable yourself to be that person that you want to be? And what does it take for others? But primarily, it is all about you as young people. It is great to go to school, but school has to work for you. And how do you enable that? Because school is not being acted on. The globe has changed. It is how you also interact with that schooling environment. And if you feel it is not safe, then you have a right and a responsibility to speak up. If you feel like, the teachers are absent or you need to push yourself further, don't wait for the suggestion to come from the teacher. Get busy doing it. Get busy knowing. Get busy finding out. There's so many. The Khan Academy online has great mathematics courses and virtually any topic that you can. So we are more than ever as a generation equipped to know more. But information is not always power unless it is acted on. Dr.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much. Joyce, it was a brilliant session from your side. Now I really have to, do justice and at least come up to that level. Okay, I'm Dr. Gagandeep Kaur-Gulati. I'm a professor. I'm teaching at IITM Chennai, and I teach MBA students. It's wonderful today that I didn't go to the college, but still I have wonderful girl students here present. And I think I have a teacher here with them. Oh, sorry, you are?
Sabhi.
Yeah, okay, hi. So, okay. The topic that I have been given is school and higher education needs to evolve. So, I purposely chose this particular topic because I feel that whatever changes have to be made, because look, I am teaching in the college presently, and I am seeing the various problems that the students as well as we being the teachers are facing. Therefore, there has to be some change which has to be brought about in the complete education sector, especially with respect to our own country, India. I'll just speak a few phrases from I've got certain points, I'll just share them with you, and then you will realize how important it is at the moment to make certain changes in the education sector. There was a 21-year-old boy, Jitesh, from Haryana. He was a student of chemical engineering at IIT Bombay. He did suicide. He said, he wrote in his suicide note, "Why did I join IIT? I should not have joined." Another person was an 18-year-old Deeksha from Punjab who committed suicide last year for being under stress for the final examinations. Another one, a 15-year-old Radha Pragati from MP who ended her life in March this year by hanging from the ceiling of their room, again under stress because of examination. Just one more case. A 19-year-old boy from Bihar who jumped from his hostel building in July this year. He was going for a coaching classes in Kota, in Rajasthan. What do we get from these things? A student from IIT committing suicide? Now you people are sitting here, and as you said, 11 and 12 classes. Do you think it's really easy to crack IIT, JEE? Is it very easy? A student who must have cleared IIT, and that person is under stress and he's committing suicide. There is something wrong with the education sector in India, which needs to be changed. So I would be sharing my words on these. What exactly are the things? I would like it to be an interactive session. What do you think should be changed? Because you people know the best, right? And why only the school and higher education we are emphasizing on? I'll just share a very small story with you. There's a father. He has 3 sons. He's staying in a village, and he's got a big farmhouse, and they have a farm there. He's going to the city. He tells his 3 children to do one task each. He tells the younger-most child of his, just do this. There are certain bushes here in the front of the house. Just take them out and put them at the back of the house. Fine.
he tells the elder student, the middle child, there is a sapling. Just take out the sapling, put it at the back of the house. And he tells another, the eldermost child, there is a tree. Take out the tree from there and put it and see to it that the tree, the bush, and the sapling didn't go to waste, and they are still, in the working condition. Now what happens? After a month, the father comes back. He speaks to all the 3 children. Were you able to succeed in the task that I gave you? The younger-most child, he had the task of shifting the sapling. It was very easy for him. He said, yeah, it was so easy. It didn't take more than minutes for me to shift the sapling from one place to another place. The middle child, he had to shift a bush. For him, it was a little difficult task. And for the eldermost child, he had to shift the complete tree. Which was the toughest? Any idea? Which was the toughest? Why tree? It's fully grown, exactly, totally correct. It's fully grown. So what should have been done? Initially only, if at all the father had thought of, you should have, the sapling was the easiest to be shifted. So this is the right age that you need to be, changed, because you are still, you've seen a potter making a pottery, fine. So once a frame, once a glass, once a bottle, a piece of pottery has been made, uske baad, it's very tough to change that. So this is the right time that we need to change the education system at your level, at the school level especially. Fine. Now what all things I would be interacting with you, what do you think needs to be changed? I think the first thing is stress of examinations. You all are having that? You must be having? Yes or no?
Probably I think first thing that should be changed is the Indian mentality that we all have.
Correct.
All the parents have this mentality that my child does not score 90% marks, he's not a good child. And that makes the child go in stress. Because he needs to keep up with the expectations that his parents have.
And the teachers as well. And the parents.
And the constant poking the second child or the neighbor.
Exactly. Comparison.
Constantly, that thing is.
That should not be done. Fine. So this is I think 90%.
In fact, the assessment system I think should be changed.
Correct.
Every child need not be assessed because
That
every
is the
child has
solution
got
that we are
its
providing
own
to
strength and weaknesses.
Yes, that is the solution that we are providing to the problems that the children are facing at the moment.
In fact, even for that, I think few years ago it was said that the exams are graded. But I think that also didn't make a lot of difference.
So now again they've come back.
Again those graded were again converted into marks. And
so what you said, 90% is a very at the moment 90% is again nothing. We need to score 99%.
Exactly.
A friend of mine, she scored 99 in psychology in 12th. She could not get admission in a good college of BU in spite of getting 99% in psychology. She could not get through the psychology honors in the college. So what is wrong? The first thing, scoring system has to be changed. What you are saying, it's totally correct. Now again they've come back to the board examination. I think let's see, because last year also when the CC system was there, still many parents opted for board examination, and believe you me, it is a good system because I can see so many children. My daughter is in 11th at the moment. She's in class 1. She's opted for non-medical. Even I personally believe board examination is a good thing. CCE should be there, but the proper implementation is not there.
yes, the implementation is not wrong. Yes.
If you remember, CC system that introduced what happened? They used to tell the children to make projects and all. Do you really think the children used to make them? I've made so many projects for my daughter. What? Why have I done that? Schooling has, if a child does it on his own, score nahi aayega, to kya karenge? Score bhi to lena hai. So what you are saying is totally correct. Iska thoda sa we need to, the government has to think on that. Okay, the expectations of the parents, of the teachers, comparison ho jata hai. That is again.
And in marks, we judge the child on the basis of marks.
Marks, only marks.
His capabilities are hidden at that time.
Yeah. He may be having interest in some other thing. But nahi, hame to score chahiye. Even, one more thing, we still have very traditional kind of a mind. हमारे टाइम में ये होता था 3 streams होती थी. Medical, non-medical, engineering, किसी को नहीं मिला. Medical, non-medical, नहीं मिला. Going for commerce, वो भी नहीं मिला. Humanities. That is wrong. Still now the mindset is changing.
In fact, humanities was looked down upon.
Look down upon, very rare.
Very rare.
If I was speaking
If
to
there was
someone,
no option, then we would go for you.
no option. And if I would speak to a very learning person like you, for example, I know you in 10th, you are a topper, and in 11th, when I meet you, what are you doing? I've opted for humanities. Oh, really? You may not have scored good in 10 values. No. Humanities were, now the system is changing. Many good children, many good topper students are going in for humanities, but still, itna abhi bhi nahi hai, abhi bhi traditional hai. Believe me, my daughter, she opted for +1 में, abhi she opted for non-medical. She just has 4 children, 4 girls in non-medical stream with her. Still the mentality of the girls is, girl has to become a doctor and the boy has to become engineer. No, that has to be changed. I think the government has to provide them with so many avenues so that girls come forward, the parents come forward to make them, join the non-medical field.
It is definitely changing though.
It is changing now. It is changing. Yeah. And it's changing. The government has so many policies. The problem is at the implementation level. Implementation properly. We've got so much budget for the education sector, but the implementation is still not there. We need to implement it at a proper level. Okay. Another problem, another thing that we need to find a solution for is rote memorization. The students are not able to grab the concept. They simply, am I right or wrong?
Yes.
They simply have to go in for the word memorization. Marks लेने हैं, you have to remember. समझ आया नहीं आया कोई बात नहीं, but मुझे marks लेने हैं. और 95 से above लेने हैं, नहीं तो where do I stand?
The Indian education system is based upon this thing that you only need to have to write the word.
You have to है ना? So how do you learn? It's so tough. Biologically, there's so many big terms. So how do I do? I help my child. I break the word into parts, but you have to learn. You've got no choice. You have to. So the education system, the teachers. Okay, another thing. Being a teacher, I would share my problem with you. I hope you are able to understand and know well. Once you go back to the school, you will start respecting your teachers more. What happens is, teachers' task, it's not so very easy for the teacher also. We've got huge amount of syllabus which we have to cover in a very limited time. Even we do not have any choice. We've got 40-50 students sitting in the class. In a college we've got 60 students sitting in the class. And what happens? I've got such a big syllabus. If I want to do that in a proper manner, I would be taking at least 10 months. But the syllabus has to be finished by me within 2 or 3 months itself. So you can well imagine what kind of justice I am doing. But I have no choice. So now, schools may again, the same thing is happening. So what is the result? So many coaching centers are mushrooming. Now the parents are under the pressure to put the child in the coaching center. The moment the child comes from the school, just takes a rest for half an hour, 20 minutes or 1 hour at the most, and the child has to rush to the coaching center. Itna zyada these things are evolving. This is incorrect. The government has to change the syllabus. Has to change the curriculum. Another problem that we feel that we are facing, especially in the college, when the children come to the college, the main problem that we are facing is there is no correlation of the curriculum, or there is least correlation of the curriculum with the demands of the industry. Because the companies come for the placement in our institute for the MBA students, final year students of MBA or graduation level students. What happens is they tell us the child is not able to communicate properly. It's very tough for a child to come at the podium and give presentation of any topic. One thing. In the group discussion, they generally fail. They are not able to speak up. So basically that is the thing that your school asked you to come with. It's a very good thing. You should have big exposure. You should go back and thank your principal and your teachers for this. Right? Another thing is, my topic that I teach in the college is HRM, Human Resource Management. I specialize in that. I specialize in organizational behavior, and another relevant subject that has been introduced in certain universities at the graduation level is values and ethics in education. Education needs to be changed. We need this subject now. Earlier, I have not studied that subject either in my graduation or in my MCOM, during my MCOM, or during my MBA. But now we are teaching this subject to graduation students. Any idea why? Values and education in business. Why do you think we are teaching this subject to the students? Any idea? Values. What do you mean by values? values? Tell me in Hindi, you must be aware of the term in Hindi. Sanskar. Correct. So values क्या है? They are a set of rules and regulations which have been made by our parents and their parents, and we have been following them. You know, I'll give you one phrase. Values are like imprints. Imprints, you all are aware about our hands? Imprints होते हैं. Wherever we go, for example, I put my hand here. The impression will come. And अगर forensic वाले लोग आएंगे ना, they will be able to make out कि I have made this impression. Values are like impression. Wherever you go, you leave an imprint, and they are never same for anyone. Are the imprints same for even for the twins? They are not. This is the most important thing which needs to be added at the moment in our curriculum. The government has to see it. Rather, therefore, you people are having value-based questions in your curriculum? Yes or no? We are preparing you for the future. You must be aware. Ask the date because so much of corruption. है कि नहीं? You agree with me?
Yes.
Corruption है. So you are the generation from whom we have got lots of expectations. You will be able to remove those. Okay, now coming to education, what exactly do you think? Education का अभी तक जो meaning था ना, that was simply passing on the knowledge from one person to another. Now that has created a problem. Now the purpose gets diluted. Education means school जाने, college जाने, degree लेनी है. The real purpose of education has now not become knowledge, but what? Degrees, diplomas. Because without degrees, without diplomas, we do not stand anywhere. That has to be changed. I'll end up with a very small story. I hope you will like it. There is a saint, and there is a king. Saint है, king है, and there is a woodcutter. There are three people. Woodcutter is always going to the saint. He is a very spiritual kind of a person. So woodcutter क्या करता है? Woodcutter का काम क्या होता है? He cuts the wood from the forest. He sells in the market, and the saint always sells it very ethically. He is. Now what happens? Once a king gets lost in the jungle, in the forest, and the woodcutter helps him out to come out of the jungle and helps him out to reach his palace very safe because he is well versed in the jungle. Now what happens? The king wants to give the woodcutter some prize. He says, "Okay, do like this. What do you want?" The woodcutter says, "What do you think the woodcutter would ask for?" Any idea? What would the woodcutter ask for? The money? कुछ दिन गुजारा हो जाए. That's all. What does the king give him? The king gives him a big jungle, the complete jungle. This jungle is yours. Cut the wood, sell in the market, and earn money. And you know what their jungle is made of? Wood fancy है, that is sandalwood. If you are aware, sandalwood is the most expensive wood. चंदन बोलते हैं ना इंडिया में चंदन की लकड़ी. The woodcutter is actually not aware of. उसका काम क्या था? He again cuts the wood, sells in the market. He goes to a person. सारी wood उसकी खत्म हो जाती है. पूरा जंगल फिनिश हो जाता है. End में थोड़ी सी लकड़ी बचती है. He goes to the market again. He speaks to a person who purchase. I'm the woodcutter. I'm selling to you. I tell you, this is the wood. How much would you take it for? You tell me 1,000. I say 1,000. I've been selling for 100. I say 1,000. You just think it's a very small amount. Okay, you take 5,000. I say 5,000 and I sell it off to you. And then later I realize, what you are realize? मैंने जो पूरा forest था, लेकिन ऐसे ही ऊपर गया. It was so valuable for me. I did not realize the value of that complete forest. And dear children, again, as I do in my college every day, these things value your body, value your mind, value your life. Be grateful to God every time. This is the complete thing that God has made. Thank you so much. I hope you like it.
Mrs. Gulati and Joyce. It was a wonderful talk. And in fact, I think most of my points are covered over there. So I have a tough time now. Okay. I am someone who's seen, and I empower children to be confident and respectful of themselves and others by teaching them proper social skills, which in turn help them to behave and communicate effectively. And the topic for today is social education system needs to evolve, something which is very close to my heart. And I'm also a mother of 2 teenage boys, working closely with children for the past I think more than 2 decades now. So there's a clear understanding that there is a major need to change in the way we educate our children. The latest research at the Women Economic Forum states that the world is navigating a transition from a knowledge economy to a self-knowledge economy. Social skills or the ability to play well is gaining importance. We can do much more by giving the new generation a personalized education system. Do you all agree? So what do I mean by personalized education system?
Student-centered approach.
Exactly. So what else would you all like to be, incorporate in the education system, since we have a good bunch of students?
I feel that the universal education system is, for years it has been emphasizing on the left part of the brain, that is logical reasoning and memorizing. We are missing the creative skills. That is also part of the education.
Yeah. But I think we as parents, everybody's parents, we as parents have come from the age of, factory approach, which Joyce also spoke about. So I'll just elaborate on that part. What do you understand by the factory approach, if these young girls have not heard about it? Factory approach is the traditional modern with an approach of one size fits all. That means you all have seen in your schools also, you all have seen assembly lines, ringing the bell, as we have here also. So our minds are tuned to those bells. The bell rings and we shift from one subject to another. So that is happening on and on. Without applying our minds, after that assembly line goes in, we keep on shifting our subjects maybe. So there is no thinking. We are all tuned to be job oriented. So, but we need to have a stop over that. So that is what I mean with personalized education system, wherein you should be open to creativity. Customized. There is in this factory approach, there is one teacher, 60 students. सब किसको समझ आ रहा है, ठीक है, नहीं समझ आ रहा है, just move on to the next subject. So, but this thinking is no longer viable, and as we've entered into the lifelong learning, facts taught in school today can be obsolete within a few years. In fact, there is so much data available these days. Not even few years. Within few seconds, at a click of a button, you have everything available. So with this data, we need to understand that the students today need to aggregate and synthesize this information in a proper manner. Employees must constantly reinvent their skill sets in order to stay employable. Employers recognize they need to be increasingly self-sufficient in helping their employees keep the skill set up to them. That is what ma'am spoke about, values. So once we have those values, we need to learn how, team building, simple team building. That is also very important these days, because as you go ahead in your jobs and all, you require those self-esteem. Like how ma'am said, even after doing that IIT, that student wanted to commit a suicide because he lacked self-esteem. So not only education system needs not only concentrate on only marks, grades, studies, but values, soft skills, problem solving, how to invent, how to create. These things should be given importance. Okay?
They're trying to do it now.
Yeah, they're trying to do
But
it.
it's still not being implemented at a very good stage, because I get the students still after coming from 12, even after graduation, in the MD level also, they just cannot come forward and speak at the podium.
Exactly.
So therefore now these children are being given, but still it has to be on a very large scale.
Yeah. I think first as parents, we need to change. And secondly, what I feel, is maybe, there are so many people in this room with different, expertise in different domains. So I think we need to combine all that. Like, as parents, I think we need to help teachers. It is not only the responsibility of a teacher all the time. So we need to help the teachers also. So that is where, I feel that customization needs to come, wherein the parent and the teacher together nurture a child. Nurturing the skill set that modern organizations should begin with early childhood education. How to create, how to invent, how to solve a problem, how to continually learn. These are the skills that should be reinforced in every level of education. Don't you think if we reinforce all these things, the studies would be more, enjoyable? You will enjoy coming to school. Otherwise, that same uniform you come and the same bags, and every day there is a pressure of the bag. And the government is trying to reduce the load of the school bag.
Coming in a different uniform, what do you feel the pressure on the parents?
Yeah. So I think we have to change the metaphors. We have to go from essentially factory model of education, that is a manufacturing model. We have to move towards a model based on principles of agriculture. So what does agriculture do? Anything?
It feeds us.
Feeds us. What else? How does it feed us? How does those plants grow?
By nurturing the plants
By giving it favorable conditions. So we have to move a model that is based more on principles of agriculture. We have to recognize human flourishing is not a mechanical process. It's like an organic process. These days, organic things, people are aware of organic. And you cannot predict the outcome of human development. Because now, though you're doing history, geography, maths, but you don't know what you will do later. Like my son is in the 10th now, and I told him, I don't want you to just focus on science or commerce or arts. You just take experience in everything, and then you decide for yourself what you have to do. Otherwise, then again you're in that monotonous zone. You do something for a few years, and then again you come back to where you were. No, now you want to have a shift. I think we, as students, they just need to follow their passion, what they are passionate about. Because if you are passionate about something, then you enjoy that profession. And you cannot predict all you can do is like a farmer, create conditions under which they begin to flourish. There are many great models. It's about customizing to your circumstances and personalizing education to people you are actually teaching. And doing that, I think, is the answer to future, because it is not about scaling new solution. It's about creating a movement in which people develop their own solutions, but with external support based on personalized learning. Now, even in this room, as there are people who represent extraordinary resources in business, in multimedia, in internet, these technologies combined with extraordinary talents of teachers provide an opportunity to revolutionize education. And I urge you to get involved, because this is vital, not just to ourselves, but to the future of our children. But we have to change from industrial model to an agricultural model where each school can be flourishing for tomorrow. That's where children experience life. Or at home, even if they want to study at home, parents need to guide them to a proper upbringing. Every education system in the world is being reformed at the moment, and it's not enough. Reform is not used anymore because that's simply improving the broken model. What we need, and the word's being used many a times in the past few days, it's not evolution, but it's revolution in education. And this has to be transformed into something else. And here I would like to end with a beautiful quote from William Ortherword. A mediocre teacher tells, a good teacher explains, a superior teacher demonstrates, and a great teacher inspires. Thank you. Any questions?